Hello and welcome to Boomer Live. And today we are here to talk about the El Clasico. As I said yesterday, we would want a thriller of a game, and what a game that was. Well, I have to say this dialogue. MSD is certainly going to be like, I don't like last overs because I cannot avoid it, but last overs, that's wait, I'm just messing up the dialogue. So I'm going to use it. I don't like last overs. But last overs like me, I cannot avoid it. Finally, I got the dialogue right. And
Yes.
yes, MSD is gonna be there again. See,
Yeah.
guys, we're late, but then MSD is never late to finish things off. And of
Yep.
course, I have two crazy MS Dhoni fans to talk about it and to cherish
Yep.
about it. And of course, let's get a Jones first up because he's got the tag of a CSK fan. What did you make of the game, Jones? You really think that CSK could have finished a little earlier, or it was just set up for Dhoni to arrive and finish it off against Mumbai Indians? Oh man, what a game that was!
I think the drop catches, I expected that to hurt badly before the magic from MS Dhoni happened. Even like till the 18th over, it was Mumbai's game.
Yeah,
Even though Bumrah went slightly more, he could have went for that 6-7. But credit to Devon Pretorius, that scoop, that was one of the game-changing moments as well. That
yeah,
was really important in the context of the game. And we all know Dhoni used to struggle against Bumrah. So Pretorius took that charge and need to credit him as well. That was really vital. And I never expected this to happen, even though Dhoni finished the game against Tom Curran in the last season as well. But this was really a full task. Pitch was not that easy. We have seen batters struggling. Then one more year older, even Dhoni played a very good knock in the first match, but still it was tough. But you can't say no to Dhoni in these finishing lines, especially he's almost 40 and doing this. I can't believe this. It's just amazing.
I mean, of course, you run out of words when such things happen. And of course, I'll come to you, Nikhil. We all are happy today. We all are like that. The childlike energy is back in us. MSD is finishing. The world has
Yeah.
changed upside down. But one thing is very constant, isn't it? That is MS Dhoni finishing and taking the teams home from the situation where you think they cannot. Let's talk about Unadkat ball in the last over. MS Dhoni strike rate before the last over was 230 against him. You reckon that Unad Khan was under pressure, or was it MS Dhoni who was under pressure?
Uh, Firstly, just to get things out, see, this is what I'm wearing. This is finish it. This is the day. I had saved this for a moment. I didn't see it coming. But again, these are the percentages. This was a classic game of going down the vintage way, beat the polar dismissal, beat the way MS came down in that last over. So it's a classic example that I will play one way. You want to change, you change. I'm not going to change my methods. It will not work. I'm okay with it. And I think I will not fault Jaydev much because he bowled well.
Hmm.
You can miss your mark. It can happen with anyone. He actually bowled a very good first ball where he caught Dwayne Pretorius out. And I think that was a very good ball. But when you are against a person who you know has hit you enough, but you still think that I think he had enough runs in the bank. I think 18 were probably a hit too many, but
Right.
because and he tried everything. He went wide, but Dhoni knew that he's going to go wide. Then he went short, but again Dhoni got the good glove that went back, and then he took a two and then that four. So if you see the last two balls, they're similar. So there wasn't much. I mean, you can't expect too much of a Jaydev Unadkat. Everybody is different. Bumrah did his job. Daniel Sams took four. It was a crazy game, to be very honest, in terms of both sides made so many mistakes that we eventually got a thriller because both sides were trying that, okay, you win, no, you win, no, you win. So eventually, I think this win should still not mask the plenty of mistakes that Chennai did. As Jones rightly pointed out, the drop catches. Tilak Verma was dropped in single digits. That the game should have been done and dusted way much before. But again, maybe this is IPL and you have to see a classic MICSK game.
Yeah. When you talk about El Clasico, this is what we love to see. And yesterday, rightly I predicted this is going to be a thriller. And of course, it was. Now, let's get to the start of the game because I reckon the match was won right there when Mukesh Chaudhary ran into about the first over. What an over that was, isn't it, Jones? You reckon now CSK will be, very content that he's bowling well, like what Deepak Chahar is doing, just to use him up front, maybe finish off his 4 overs and whatever wickets he can provide up front, they'll be very content with that.
Yes, I think so. He's building that confidence really well. That is really vital, and it's not easy for an youngster to come and perform suddenly. There will be some of them, but you can't expect everyone to do that. Some of them will be taking time. Some of them will be having tough times. Then there'll be one over. Even one ball can change your entire season as well. So maybe that confidence has helped Mukesh really well. So he is building up the confidence, and that is helping as well. And he's providing the left arm angle as well. Like CSK didn't had that kind of material. Uh, I think it was last time. Last was Bollinger. After that,
Yeah,
I don't
Yeah.
remember as a CSK. Even Ashish Nehra was there somewhere around. Other than that, I can't remember anyone. So it has been long time, and it's a very good news for CSK as well moving forward. Once
right,
Deepak and Mukesh comes together, it will be really lethal. Like
right,
one is a left arm pacer, other is a right arm pacer, so it will be helping a lot. So CSK can use them even in pitches that suits them more often.
right,
So I believe it's a very good sign for moving forward. And as you mentioned, game would have easily finished earlier, but that drop catches will be hurting, and that is where I still believe that if you look at RCB game or this game, it was not convincing. It was not a vintage CSK win. There is lots of hole to cover up, and that is why they are number 9 or number 8 in the points table. It will be really tough to compete against Gujarat or Lucknow or Bangalore, etc. But if they can keep improving, then they can challenge to the top 4 spot or top 5 spot. But the issue is that they need to improve. If you look at the both the wins that they have won in this IPL, that is not convincing, or even that is not a 75 percentage or 80 percentage of convincing, which
right.
CSK used to do more often. But that is where I think CSK lacked against stronger sides.
Right, right, rightfully mentioned over there regarding the holes which the CSK team have to fill. Let's talk about some of the selections today. Nikhil Baylor is surprised and Moonali was left out of the squad and they brought in Sadner. It was not just a bowling change when Sadner batted at number 3. What would you reckon was the idea behind that selection?
I'm genuinely hoping he was just injured, Moin, and because I don't think we've heard anything about that much in detail. So waiting for an update on that because otherwise, I think there were a lot of questionable calls in terms of how even the bowling was used. Something like Mukesh did not bowl his 4 overs. Eventually, yes, he was the player of the match, rightly so. But you felt that okay on the pitch where Ritik, who's a new on debut, bowled so well. Someone like a Jadeja should have probably bowled better. I felt maybe it could just be me. I felt that he was trying to get overs out rather than look for wickets, and I think that is somewhere Chennai ended up conceding a few runs. But I think Sadner did his job well. Again, he would have had 2 wickets in the very first over had those catches been taken. So
Right,
again, it's a something that he can't control, but I think he did his job well. Coming in at 3, also he came in and played his shots. Something that I expect whoever plays at 3 to do that. So in that sense, hopefully it's just a minor injury and nothing much from that.
right, right. Jones, coming to you, of course, what do you make of Dwayne Pretorius? Because you mentioned about his knock, but even with the ball, he was very tight, wasn't he? Because last time we did criticize how Chris Jordan was being expensive and the reasons they did not give adequate reasons for dropping Dwayne Pretorius was bowling brilliantly. Now with Bravo, Dwayne Pretorius, while of similar kind of bowlers, and now with Mukesh also bowling really well. Now you reckon that CSK has got a formidable bowling unit at least?
I think the inclusion of Tikshana has been the game changer. Like Tikshana has been, if you look at the last 2 matches, last 3 matches, he has been performing so well for CSK, and that is why CSK lacked as well. If you look at the first few matches, Mukesh was doing well, and they were not getting the power play wickets. And if you look at today, if you look, there was matchups with Mitchell Sanner versus Mumbai batters, but
Right,
you might see Tikshana will be bowling more often in power play. Today he didn't get much opportunity, but if he's
right,
bowling more often in power play against other sides, he'll be getting the wickets. Because if you look
right.
at his record for Sri Lanka or whenever he bowled for CSK as well in power play, he used to get that important wickets. So I
Hmm.
believe more than Pretorius, Tikshana's arrival has been one of the boosting sides for CSK in the bowling, and he can get you the wickets in middle overs as well. That 7 to 15 phase. CSK used to lag more often. Even if you look at the last year as well, Bravo needs to do lot of work. But this time,
Right.
Bravo has that help. After the 10th over, Bravo has Tikshana. So that is helping CSK and Pretorius as well. It's almost a combined effort, and that bowling group are doing well. They should be the fielding. We have seen lots of drop. I think CSK has dropped the most number of catches in the tournament as well. So and CSK has issues in the field. Shivan Dubey is not a great fielder. Mukesh Chaudhary improved, but still he has issues. So that is where CSK needs to counter upon and the batting as well. So I
Right.
still believe there are lots of holes. Hopefully they can work out in this middle phase. That will be vital. And once pitches getting going to dry, then Tikshana, Moeen Ali, Jadeja, or Moeen Ali or Mitchell Santner, that will be a threat for any opposition team or a franchisee.
Right. No, you spoke about pitches getting dry, but you reckon nowadays, Nikhil, I'm coming to you. Nowadays, they're leaving a lot more grass on the pitch and they're watering it earlier on. That's what we're getting the news as well, so that the pitch stays intact. Even today's game, you saw fair bit of grass covering up front. Though the pitch underneath was dry, there was fair bit of grass coming. That's one of the reasons why fast ballers are in the game in the first few overs. We are seeing that from game one as well. You reckon that can be continued till 74 games?
I think it'll have to be continued because only then can you play at the same venues with having such decent games. Again, I'm calling this a decent game because of the quality of it and not because of the thrill that we had as fans. It was a one. You both sides had their fair share of moments with the new ball. That is, you saw Sam's get good enough grip from the surface, and Mukesh also used that angle and the bowling well. So I think we will continue to see that. But there are variety. Like at Brabant, there isn't much grass. We are seeing
Yeah.
flatter surfaces with some help for the spinners. So there is a good variety, which I think is good for the tournament. That you're getting every venue is different, and you have to adapt to that.
Absolutely. Right. Jones, coming to you now. Let's get to the color of the shirt which you're wearing. It's the blue team who are absolutely 7-0 now in the tournament. Jones, where do you reckon Mumbai will go from here on? Because it's just devastating for them, isn't it? At this point of time, Rohit Sharma as the captain and also everybody will be searching for answers. What can we do better? Because today was possibly one of those games they could have finished it off pretty well, though they got out of a very bad start. But they did well in the middle overs, at least squeezing in Chennai Super Kings, isn't it?
It's really tough to tell what Mumbai needs to do. They have got youngsters, like even Sachin mentioned that they have got a young group. They'll be learning. They have good signs. Like Tilak Verma is a great future. Like the way he has been performing this year in the tough situation. If you look at, he used to open or play at number three for Hyderabad in domestic cricket, and coming
Right.
into a IPL as a 18-year-old in the first season, batting at number three, number four, number five, and he has adapted in each and every position against pacers, spinners, especially spinners. The way he has been taking down spinners.
Right.
There are positives. The issues that similar issue as a team, similar issue for CSK as well. As a team, they are not performing. If you look at the whoever winning in this IPL, like now Gujarat Titans, Royal Challengers Bangalore, etc., they also have the whole. But the main aspect they are performing as a team. There will be three or four players who can come up and finish the game, like Shahbaz Ahmed or Dinesh Karthik, then Josh Hazelwood, then
Yeah.
there is Asaranga some other days, etc. If you look at Techno, they have got Decock some days, KL Rahul is there, the way Jason Holder, etc. So there are four to five match winners for these franchises. And they're coming good. But the issue for CSK and Mumbai is that there is no four to five players. There will be one or two guys who will be performing in each and every match, but there is no four to five players. That is the issue for both CSK and Mumbai. Even though CSK won two matches, but that was not convincing for a franchise like CSK, what they used to do for last 13 to 14 years.
Right. Yeah, that's rightly pointed out because Mumbai is possibly going through their worst ever season. They could say 2008, 2009 they were bad, but this could be right up there amongst one of their worst ever seasons. Nikhil, coming to you now, Ishan Kishan has been one of their main buys, and it was slightly criticized by some of the players or the coach from the other camp as to they've spent a lot on him. But then if you look at Ishan Kishan dynamics, what he brings is a very rare commodity out there in the market, right? Because he's a three-dimensional player, including his batting, keeping, and he could also be a future captain in some ways. So today we saw his dismissal. It just looked like he was all over the place. Though he got balled by a breach of a ball, but then he was on the ground, and you could see he was nowhere there. His head position was bad. His weight transfer was really poor. What is going on through that lad? Because he started off the IPL beautifully, and where did he lose the plot?
Firstly, when you said where will Mumbai go, I said they will now go to Wankhede, and they'll be very delighted to go back to their home venue
Yeah,
because they know the conditions there. Maybe that is the tonic that will free them up. Because again, there is a relation to your question because when you're playing at different venues, sometimes you take too long to adapt, and I think that is probably something that is not helping Mumbai with their resources. That uh, you are planning to play at a certain venue, and then there are certain plans, and then when you go away from that, it's very hard to adapt. Something I think the two, but it is so sorry said that Wankhede is having pitches that is helping the ball grip. So if Mumbai get a road, I'm sure most of their batters will get back into form and they'll get the rhythm back. The
yeah,
problem with Mumbai has been they haven't really got on to a great start. And great by great, I mean something that we are used to seeing with Kishan and Rohit. Whenever they played, that they've done well. That they're getting 65 or 55, 60, those kind of starts. Even in those 45s and 40s that they've got, you've seen there have been just small phases where one batter has gone big or the other has gone big. So
mm,
when you're part of a losing side, sometimes you're just not that confident to really go for your shots early. Sometimes you just think that maybe I need to bat deeper because of this is my responsibility and all of that. So it is just that matter of that first win, something that even Stephen Fleming said after their first few games that we are doing the right things, but we need something to tell us that we are on the right track. And that
right,
right thing was the win. So I think anyway he's too young in which ways for to be thinking so much about the prize and all. I'm sure he is enough value for the amount that he's getting because it's a long-term investment. Hopefully, Mumbai will find a way to because they're having Tilak Parma, Devil Lewis, even Ritik played well today. So they're
right.
getting those small performances well, but now it's up to the seniors to really pull themselves up and find a way and put in a good performance together, and then they can probably get on a roll of sorts, if at all.
Right. Jones now going ahead in the tournament because Mumbai, from the past have always succeeded by playing two overseas spaces, and today you saw that the effect of two overseas spaces coming into the fore, where you had a Meredith, where you had a Daniel Sam who ball decently well. After that hammering which you got from Pat Cummins, he bounced back really well, isn't it? Now going ahead, can they stick on to this philosophy? I'm just not talking about this season, next seasons as well. You're on mute.
Yeah,
I think next year Jofra will be coming back, so that will be boosted their bowling unit. I still believe they need to play Tim David as a finisher.
yeah.
They are invested on him a lot in the auction. I don't know what happened. He has been fielding, he has been in the dugout, so he'll be fit and available. I don't know what is the reason behind that, but still, Mumbai needs that number six, number seven. Earlier, they used to have Hardik Pandya, Kurnak Pandya, etc. So there is a hole. So they need to cover up with Tim David. What if you look at what RCB is doing? There is no ABD Villiers. They are covering with Dinesh Karthik and few other guys. So similar to that, Mumbai Indians also need to cover up the whole of Hardik Pandya, Kunal Pandya, etc. Through another finisher. Right now, it's too much pressure on Pollard to perform. So if
Right.
Tim David is coming, then it will be helping Pollard as well. So I believe
Right.
they should be trying and put this Tim David in the playing field. That will be ideal for moving forward for Mumbai Indians.
Right. Nikhil, coming to you, a tricky question now. What are the
Yeah.
chances of Mumbai Indians still sticking on to the tournament? Because even if they win now, everything they get up to 14 points. And of course, can you give any hopes to Mumbai Indians fans?
I'll just say don't look for. It's too early to look at where they will end up. Just try and get the first win, and then we see from where it goes. Because given
Absolutely.
the state, I think they have enough positives in terms of the people. It's just about getting all of them to perform in the same game, and it's okay. When you are such a big franchise, you are allowed to have one completely off season as well.
I want to add another question to you because even if you look at the press conference and everything, they are of the opinion that they're looking at the next season. This season is about trying and testing youngsters. You reckon they've
I think
already
it was
spoken
already
hard?
there the moment. I think
Yeah,
it's already there the moment they invested so much on Joffrey and when he was not there for this season. It
yeah,
always meant that you are going to be handicapped. And when you have again the two teams that played today, both of them have had a poor auction, and it is reflecting in the way they're playing, in the way they are on the points table. So uh, it's good if Mumbai can really take that approach, and which is why I think they are not playing Tim David maybe
yeah,
because they are putting a lot of faith on Bevel Bruvis to be their permanent number three.
yeah.
So maybe
Right.
that could be the logic by which they are going. So let's see. I think they have enough young guys. Now it's time to back them and then see how it goes from there.
Well, talking about young guys and who you should be backing, there is always an opportunity for you to do something off the field as well to pick your team and do something great. Let's look at who are the highest fantasy points earner from today's game because today's game had some surprises out there. I'm not sure how many of you had these three players up front. It was the three left armers. It was Daniel Sam, Mukesh Chaudhary, Jaydev Unatkar. There was Tilak Verma and Dwayne Bravo. Nikhil, coming to you. Are you a little surprised that these are the three players who are there in the fantasy charts?
By normal logic, yes. The way games are going in the last few days, no. And again, this is one of the things about fantasy, right? You can get horribly wrong, but which is why I say play with two teams. My team one
Right.
had only two of them, but my team two had five of them. So that is
Absolutely.
what you have to go about. Think differently, only then can
Right.
we get something back. So, yes, saved by team two again.
Definitely. So if you want to have these kind of left field choices in your fantasy 11, because you can expect these kind of days coming more often than not,
Yeah.
I'm going to be handing over to Nikhil to talk about the course he's doing, where he's going to absolutely strategize your calls and making your teams. Nikhil, talk about
Yes.
it.
Again, another day, another great example for to discuss that in fantasy, it's not always possible to make the best combination.
Yeah.
You see, the games are not happening as per you how you want to. There are hundreds of drop catches, 50 runouts being missed. So you can't counter that. That's not something that you can control. But what you can
Mm.
control is how you can think differently. So you
Yeah.
make your one team with a common logic that okay, this is the best possible flow, but then
Yeah.
think of what alternatives can happen. Which is why I said my team two had Jaydev Unadkat because they were bowling second. It was a huge
Yeah.
deck, potential grip. Same logic with Daniel Sands, same logic with Mukesh Chaudhary. It
Yeah.
worked out today, may not have worked out any other day, but which is why multiple teams. If team one doesn't work, team two will work. So how do you get to that stage of picking who to have in team one, who to have in team two, then which contest to join, which
Yeah.
platforms to play? All of that matters, and that's all that I've covered in the fantasy course. A lot of people have already benefited in terms of enjoying the process of get you started fantasy to enjoy the process. So it's
Right.
time you put the money bit aside. You will get money if you learn to earn. So you
Right.
have to learn from every game, identify what is going right, what is going wrong, and then you course correct, and then you get better results in the future.
Of course. Talking about the process, and if you have to make multiple teams for free, you can head to Boomer 11 because it's one platform where you get to make teams for free with totally no cost, where you can absolutely test your fantasy skills as well, and you'll only get rewards because this IPL you can win prizes worth up to $5,000. And guys, there's something exciting coming your way as well. We're going to be starting a new giveaway very soon, so guys, subscribe to our channel, stay tuned, and there is going to be some exciting news for you people. And everything what we do is for you people. So you are like a family to us. And talking about our YouTube content, we'll be having Jones, Nikhil, Sandibani on every day to talk about the matches in depth, analyze, have some funny banter here and there. Enjoy these kind of moments because you don't get these things back. So enjoy while it lasts. And we make more of these moments as well, more cherishable. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining. And we were, of course, fortunate enough to celebrate the great man's finishing yet again.
Yes. Good night. It's going to be a very smiling good night for a lot of us. So yes, have a good
Yes.
time.
Good night, all of you, and
Thanks a lot.
especially Chennai fans. Have a good night.
Thanks a lot.